Well, welcome back to the Confidence Igniter podcast, the podcast that was designed to take you from basic to brilliant. And I'm your host. My name is Tamiko Green. Well, I'm happy about today's show. Today's show is titled Shift the Atmosphere. I'm going to say it again, Shift the Atmosphere. Well, have you ever thought about how powerful your thoughts are? See, our thoughts have the power to shift our atmosphere. Now, if this wasn't so, the good book wouldn't tell you to be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, not your heart, not your eyes, not your nose, not your hands, your mind. That's because our thoughts have the power to shift our atmosphere. It has the power to change our life around. What we think, we tend to say, and what we say tend to grow, take root. I remember years ago when I was going through my own challenges that I would always say, how things are. Whatever that I was going through, I would call out what it was versus what I wanted it to be. Because I kept calling out what it was, the atmosphere didn't shift in a direction that I wanted it to go into. It wasn't until I started to call those things that be not as though they were that my atmosphere started to shift. Okay, like a bird flapping a wing, at some point, I started to take flight. But a lot of times we don't realize that our words are so powerful. We don't sometimes look at the reason why we are where we are is because of things that we continue to say. Instead of calling out the good, we tend to call out what it is. Knowing all along what it is not where we want to be. We want to go higher. We want to grow. We want to go to the next level. We want to elevate in our life, but we continue to call out what it is. And then sometimes we get to the point that we think that, things like good can never come our way. And maybe a lot of times it's because of maybe what you're speaking into yourself or what someone else is speaking into you, or maybe the environment as a whole. But let me tell you something, no one can control your destiny but you. See, whatever you say, tend to show up in your life. Every time I kept saying that, you know what, I'm not good enough. I don't have a high school diploma. I have a GED now. But every time I would say, look, I don't have this or I'm not qualified, guess what? I invited into my life the ability to never get chosen for whatever it is I was going after or never really moving in my life. The Dow did not start to move in my life until I started to change what I was saying. So it started a shifting to take place in my atmosphere. A lot of times when, people will say, you know what, why don't you just, start to be more positive? And I've heard people say, well, positive thinking is not going to change my situation. Well, if negative thinking brought you to where you are, what makes you think positive thinking cannot shift the atmosphere? Because words are powerful. Your words have the ability to build you or kill you. I'm going to say that again. And I'll say it a little bit different. Your words have the ability to build your empire or burn down the existing one you have. You have power to shift your atmosphere, but it's up to you. It's up to you how you perceive life, right? Perceive your situation. So even if you're in a season that is not so great, because the only time we really, really have issues with speaking right is when we in seasons that were unexpected or seasons that we do not like, right? But when we're in a good season, we can always say something great, like if things are good. And, if you go to church, such as I do, you might say God is good and all the time God is good, right? When somebody going through a storm, you might say, you know what, don't worry about it. He's an on-time God. Yes, he is. And all of that is true. God is a good God and yes, he's on time. But when we find ourselves in a storm, for some unknown reason, God's timing is not on time. And we want him to show up right then and there. We don't, some of us don't say like, hey, I know this came to pass. The atmosphere is shifting. A lot of times that's not what we do. But I come to suggest to you today that you have the power to speak life over your situation, whatever it is. You have the power to say that I am blessed, or I am confident. I am more than enough. I am victorious. And when anything that you say with I am or be put behind I am, that's what you're inviting into your life. That's what will shift your atmosphere, whatever way that I am is. So if you say I'm broke, trust me, you have just invited broke to come into your life. You have invited a struggle for yourself. Now, I know for some of you that might be listening to this, you might be like, no, that's not so. Yes, it is. Think about it. Every time that you have ever said, maybe I have a headache, did a headache show up? When you said I'm sick, did sick show up? When you say, you know what, I'm broke. And then when you got some money, all of a sudden a bill that you didn't expect, or somebody needed the money, or you lost the money. However, you didn't keep the money that you had, right? Because you said, I'm broke. But when you start to say different, instead of saying I'm broke right now, I have a cash flow issue, or you know what, right now the money is on the way. It's like, hey, maybe you could say, at this point, the money is coming. I know it, but I got to be patient. That's not saying I'm broke. That's saying that it's in transit. So you're shifting the way you see life. You're shifting the way you use your words, because your words that you speak, you're speaking over your life. So the question becomes, how do you want to live your life? Because I always say this, and I just a firm believer of it. I don't believe any one of us came to this earth to be broke, to be without, to not have what we need, or to live the greatest life. I just don't believe that. But I do believe that a lot of times we get caught up with saying the negative versus putting the positive there. We get caught up in our fears versus caught up in our faith, knowing that you can have whatever you say. You have the ability to declare a thing, and so shall it be. Now, somebody may say, no, it's not like that. Oh, yes, it is. That's what the good book says. It say, declare a thing, and so shall it be. So what are you declaring? Look at your life right now. Take inventory. Take inventory. I've had to do it, and I do, and I have to continually to do it, because I'm not perfect. And there are times I find myself speaking things, and I say to myself, I say, hey, Tamiko, now, how's that going to help you? Why are you calling what it is? Call what it is that you desire, not what it is. You already see what it is. So call what it is that you desire. Shift your atmosphere, because you have the ability to do that. You have the ability to change your life by changing your thoughts. Each of us do. And trust me, I know a lot of times people say, well, that's just human nature. Well, you know what? Don't make human nature an excuse for you to keep doing what you're doing if it's not beneficial to your life. If you want to go higher in life, if you want to have the opportunity to live the life that you dreamed of, the life that allows you to do more of whatever it is that you desire to do. Maybe you desire to travel. Maybe you desire to go to some places that you've never been before. Maybe you desire to make an impact in other people's lives. But right now, because you keep saying, I don't have the resources, I don't have the resources, I don't have the resources, so I'm not going to get started. Maybe you could say that the resources is on the way, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started, because I already know they're going to show up. Because the funny thing about the mind, anything you tell it, it just go out and make it happen. Anything you tell your mind that you believe, it'll make it happen, because the mind doesn't know the difference between what's true and what's not true. I can prove it. When you go to sleep at night and you have a dream, let's just say you have a dream that you won the lottery, and you're happy in that dream, and you wake up and you're like, man, I had a dream that I won the lottery. I mean, I had won it big. Well, guess what? Your mind didn't know if that was true or not. Think about when you have a nightmare, right? So you go to bed, you wake up in the middle of the night screaming, looking around and then you realize like none of that was real. But the mind didn't know because you woke up screaming, like, where am I? Where am I? The mind didn't know. So all I'm saying is to you is that you have the power to shift your atmosphere. A new year is coming upon us. 26, you can get in the mix. Okay, I'm going to say that again. In 2026, you can get in the mix, but only way you're going to get in the mix and elevate and go higher to the next level, you have to shift your own atmosphere. No one can do it for you. No one can change how you think but you. You have the ability to do something great. How do I know? Because there's greatness in you. You got power in you that you have not even tapped into. I'm telling you, I know. Let me tell you something. If you say that you're going to do a certain thing and you focus on that, it's going to happen. Create you a vision board. Create you a vision board so that way put it somewhere where you can see it. So then when you, if it's your front room or your bedroom, your bathroom, whatever it is, so that way when you come in, it will remind you of what it is that you said that you were going to do or what you were going to have. Trust me, you can create anything and it starts within you. The shifting starts within you. So you can't shift outside of you. You got to first shift within. That's why it starts with your thoughts. You have the power to shift the atmosphere when you start to shift internally and it shows up externally. Consider the next time you say, you know what, I don't feel good, and see what happens. See that you start to get sick or your nose start running, or say to yourself, let's do it positive. Say, you know what, I'm on my way to the store, right? So when you get to the store, look, there's a parking space waiting right in front for me. Believe it and watch. You're gonna have that parking space. Then somebody might say, well, I want more than a parking space. Okay, well, whatever you want. It's your mouth. You get to choose. You get to choose. And these are things that we were not taught in school. Some wasn't taught at home. Some wasn't taught in church. And so when you hear these things, they sound foreign to you. But this is a new season. What is it that you want out of life? What is it that when you sit alone or just sitting down watching TV or whatever it is, when you're sitting or who you're sitting with, that you think about, man, if I could only do fill in the blank. If I could only have fill in the blank. If I could only live fill in the blank. If I could only have this amount of money, fill in the blank. These things that make you just say, man, if I could. My question becomes, why can't you? Why can't you? Because you can. And how it happens is it has to start with a shifting have to take place on the inside of you that will show up on the outside of you. Let me tell you something. Every single person that decided to climb out of the box and go to the top, it started with a decision to shift their thoughts from where they were at to where they wanted to go. There are many people, those in Hollywood, those not in Hollywood, those we know and those that we don't know, that are doing some great things. They didn't always start out that way. They had to make a decision to shift that atmosphere using their thoughts, because the same mind that got you where you are, if you want to go higher, you're going to have to change that mindset, because you have the power. You don't have to change your mind. You don't have to go get you a new mind like at a grocery store or a hardware store. It doesn't work that way, okay? But you have to shift your thinking to go to the next level in life. And I believe each and every one of us want to go to another level. I know I do. I know I do. So I work on my thoughts. I work on myself, because the only way I'm going to get to where I want to go is I got to make the change. Let me tell you something. You can pray and say, God, open the door for me. And the door will be open, but because your mindset is not right, you will never walk through it. You can ask God for abundance, but because your mindset is sitting in the zip code of poverty, you will never realize that you got abundance in front of you. See, for a lot of us, when we look at the things that we do have, it's not enough. So you think that you don't have enough. And technically, you really do. That's why sometimes it's hard to even be grateful, because we're so busy looking at what we don't have that we don't realize how much of it that we do have. But when you shift your thinking. It will shift that atmosphere to that I have more than enough. And guess what? I can be grateful because even though I may want something more, look at everything I have right now. And I can guarantee you for some of us and those that are watching, I can guarantee you probably got more now than you had maybe 5 years ago. So you're growing, but because you some of us can't see that, you know what, I'm doing good. I'm doing better than good. But I'm not telling you get stuck in that point. At that point, I'm just saying acknowledge the good you have. That in itself, gratitude transforms your life. It'll take a little and make more than enough, but that comes into a shifting. So when you start to shift your thinking, it'll shift your atmosphere. There is power in your perception. So when you shift your perception, it will shift your atmosphere. When you shift your mindset, when you start to think differently, let me tell you something. Say, I am blessed. I am confident. I am more than enough. I have what I need. When you start to say those things to yourself, when you get out of the bed in the morning, even before you get out of the bed, how about when you open your eyes? I am blessed. I am more than enough. I am confident. And let me tell you something. You have to have confidence to be able to go to the next level. And you're going to have confidence within that shows up on the outside. This is the time right now to shift your atmosphere. You have the power. Give that gift to yourself. Shift your atmosphere. And here's the beauty of it. When you start to shift your atmosphere, you start to make a different type of impact, not just into your life, but into the lives of others. Don't forget, this is your season. This is your time. Regardless of where you are, whatever season. Now, somebody might say, hey, I'm not in the best of season. That's all right. But you have the power to shift that by what you continue to say. Speak life over yourself and just know things will change. Well, this has been the show for today. But before I close, I hope you take the time out to like, to share, and to also subscribe. And also, I want to share with you something important. This happened to be our final episode of 2025. I tell you, what a year this has been. I just want to take the time out to thank each and every one of you for rocking with me. Yes, for this time. I appreciate you so, so much. I truly hope that each one of these episodes has caused you to grow, caused your courage to grow, because you know what? It's the Confidence Igniter podcast, right? So I know that there was some growing that you did, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It just have been really good for me. So I just want to say again, thank you, thank you, thank you. But listen, this is not the end, all right? So in 2026, we're going to be going higher starting January 5th. So get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready because the next level is calling you. Okay. That's why we got to shift the atmosphere with our thinking because the next level is calling you and you're going to be stepping into it with boldness, purpose, and unstoppable confidence. It's going to be all new shows next in coming January 26th. Yes, the year we're going to get in the mix in 2026. So I truly hope to see you in 2026. But until I see you again, please feel free to drop me a message. And hey, I am so happy and so grateful. Well, I know I probably won't do a show definitely for Christmas and New Year's Day. So I truly hope not only that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, but you also have a happy holidays. And don't forget that December 20th, that Fortified City Christian Church will be doing their food distribution from from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., and that's December 20th at 2744 Canton Road in Marietta, Georgia. Well, I hope you enjoyed this show, and until I see you again in 2026, have a good one. Happy holidays. Take care.